Hi there. Starting up a new channel which is going to be devoted to local history, which is going to be Bournemouth. It won't just be solely for local history. I will expand a little bit, but it'll be based, it's largely in the UK, on local history and architecture. I do have to give a brief explanation of, because it's not going to be your people who are new to the subject. This is going to be alternative history, so from lots of evidence that I found, but I do need to give you an explanation of the fake history and where a lot of the Tartaria mud flood reset sort of stuff, if you are new to it, it's going to seem totally crazy. So there does need to be a brief explanation, which I will show you in a sec with this video. So the concept is there was a reset between, it's hard to say, 1750 and 1850, we believe. It's hidden from history. An empire was wiped out that has been wiped from history as well, so the knowledge has been culled, and again there's lots and lots of evidence for this. I'll let John Levy explain.
And what is the reset? The reset is an idea that we have clues of past and much more magnificent civilizations than our own existing as little as 200 to 400 years ago, based on the architecture and layouts of our cities and forts, which in past times were called bastion forts and what we call star forts, existing all throughout this realm, things that we can't replicate today, and really not being hidden at all, just given ridiculous stories on how they were created, and in modern times being repurposed for many different things, one being the pedestal for our Statue of Liberty, and in other instances being backfilled with dirt and turned into golf courses. But back to the reset. Does the reset matter? And if you're interested in survival, I suppose it does. And if you're interested in simple history, then it does as well. To me, it is clear there is a reset, which seems to be every 400 years, and it seems to involve water and fire, oftentimes the fire being a byproduct of what seems to be a plasma electrical discharge raging through our realm, causing canyons and melting cities overnight. And in other cases, we see the results of massive flooding. And not only flooding that came from oceans in a horizontal direction, but waters that came from beneath, pushing up and displacing the land and causing new and varied elevations.
Newsreels. It's world's first mobile phone, 1922. Hold that thought. And I've shown evidence of this sort of technology years before this, and I am proposing that it's no problem for them to have this 100 years prior, because nothing new under the sun. But check this out. So, two ladies come down a beautiful mud-flooded avenue, okay, and they got their mobile phone, but it's run flat. So what do you do in your reality when you want to charge up your phone? You plug it into your wall or your mains, or you plug it into your computer, yes? Ladies, show the people how you charge your phone in 1922. What? You connect it to a bollard? The same bollard with the serrated tops, but the lug is on there now? And that gives you a charge. It's active. Are all bollards active? Check this out, guys. Bingo. They're live, all right, or they were then. So she got a charge. Now she can get a signal. Wireless signal. Now she got a battery charged. Ka-ching. And she needs a signal, so she uses her umbrella as some sort of dish or antenna to get her signal. And now she gets through to the wirelessly to the operator. Operator service, which number you calling? And to give you a bit of music. Yeah, you know, one time, guys, in the past, the far off distant past, you used to be able to phone a number, right, on the telephone that would tell you the time. No shit. I know, nothing stranger than reality. So I'll show you once more. I'll give you the links. You check it out for yourself. These bollards, you can get charged up on your phone in 1922.
So there's lots of different theories out there. There's mud flood theories, flood theories, just worldwide devastation from a natural disaster of some sort, or just world was destroyed by weapons, which is have to know, which is what I'm swearing over to as the days go on. But there's so much evidence for it, guys. Like, for example, a lot of this stuff is in the mud floods, Tartarian sort of subject, where the theory is quite a lot of these buildings were buried by mud. Now, I've got a slightly different theory to that now with some of the stuff that I've been looking into, but it doesn't hide the fact that there are half-buried buildings everywhere. Loads in Bournemouth, couple in Poole. You have all underground. You've got an underground rail system under Brampton, which has basically been turned into a drain. There's lots and lots of evidence to suggest that there definitely was some sort of different worlds back then. And so I've looked into some of the enclosure acts that were sort of going on in the 1800s, and there clearly was some sort of dishing out of land of sort. I mean, in the local history books, it's just put down as obviously this is when Bournemouth was discovered, etc., but it doesn't add up. It doesn't add up. A lot of it doesn't explain why there's no photographic evidence of any of the construction when photography was pretty popular back then. It doesn't explain quite a lot of the monuments that are around. It don't really make sense. It doesn't explain why there were so many churches when the population of Bournemouth was tiny. I can't emphasise the point as well of, if you're still thinking, not sure about this, look at any building built between 1850 and around, let's say, 1910 to 1915 or thereabouts. Just look at mainly the ones around 1890 I found, but again, it's not a rule of thumb. But why would you not have any pictures of the construction, which I'm pretty sure you'll get, is very strange. So then you've got to go a bit further than that and then ask yourself, well, why would they lie about this? Why would they need to lie? So did you notice? Every single one of those photos, there was burn and scorch marks. This, for me, proves there was some sort of devastation that they are hiding from us, because I cannot find any reference in history for this damage. So this is Bournemouth Valley Viaduct, it's just outside Bournemouth. If you look on the left-hand side, does that look like some sort of destruction has happened? I mean, now I know they're emptying something there. I mean, that could even be some of the stuff that's buried. But if you look at the side of that bridge, you can tell that's been smashed apart. So when I first started looking into this, this was one of the first things that made me think there's definitely something to this. So this is an engraving by Hankinson from 1865, I believe. It's an engraving, and it's got St. Peter's Church in the background, which is very significant, because when I show you this next picture, spot the difference. So basically, it's exactly the same drawing. And I will attempt to explain why I believe they have done this. But if you look at the top of the spire, it's been rubbed off. It's exactly the same photo. It's everything else in the drawing is exactly the same. So the reason I believe they have done this is because St. Peter's Church was built in 1879, according to the official records. Now, this drawing predates that by 14 years. So to attempt to cover this up, they have rubbed the top of the spire off, and to make it appear as though it is mid-construction. When you go to look at the date stones on any of these buildings where they claim to have been built on a certain day, every single one you can tell they have been tampered with, whether it's a new stone that they've put in or whether they've just defaced it altogether. It's no coincidence. Every single building, this is the case. Every single one. So brings us on to what some would say are mud flood buried buildings. There's lots of different theories on this, but whatever your belief on the matter, it's clear to see they are half buried, and it just would not make any sense whatsoever to build them this way. These particular two aren't the best examples. There's a photo that I'm just about to bring up, which I think is, you can argue some of the cellar rooms, I get that, but this photo that is just about to come up, I'm not sure you can argue with this one. So it's just literally about to come into now. So why would you build a building like that? Why would you build it halfway into the ground and have the windows half showing into the road and half into the basement? It just does not make any sense whatsoever. But it does back up evidence which would suggest that some of these buildings have been half buried somehow and have possibly been dug out since. So what I showed you there was a selection of on top of various buildings in Bournemouth, Poole, Parkstone, but I'm pretty sure it's the same with anywhere in the country. So what you're just looking at now is a gateway to St. Peter's Church, and I did touch on it earlier, but I believe a lot of the stuff that we're looking at here is electrical infrastructure. For example, I mean, I'm walking along my local Ashley Road now, and there's at least 6 different churches on a 500-metre stretch of road. It just does not make any sense. But were these places electrical power stations as such? Look at the top of that gate, that is inside the stone. So was stone used as the insulator, similar today how they use plastic in circuit boards? Could we have a situation where in the old world money wasn't really an object, so they just grabbed the most convenient materials available and used stone? You also have to ask yourself as well how some of these buildings, which they claim to have built in between 1850 and 1900s. I mean, look, it's horse and cart days. I mean, I really question whether they could build these buildings at the time that they say they could have been built. I mean, look inside this church now. I mean, really, that was built in 1879. Could you really manage that? Even today? From being passed down a few generations, you would have to move the children away from their parents. What did they do in 1939? And what was this operation called? Operation Pied Piper. Now, what is the story of the Pied Piper? It's unbelievable. I said, the more you go into this, the more you realise something very sinister has gone on, and do we really, really know what has actually happened?